Hello everybody, we're continuing with data analysis with Python and Pandas. For this week, the learning objectives are list statistics about a dataset, search a dataset using conditions, add columns to a dataset. Let's get to it. So once you log into notebooks.azure.com, create a new project. You can call it anything you want, but always something meaningful. And then upload the data file, which you should already have. Then you can add a new notebook to write the code. Give it a name and always choose Python 3.6. Open the notebook and then write code to import pandas and display the data. Read Excel, and then the name of the file, patients.xlsx. Display some rows, data dot head. Alright, so we're okay. Let's first display some statistics about the dataset. To do that, all you have to say is just data.describe. Missing an R. And then it will describe some statistics, or it will display some statistics for the columns that have values. In this case, patient ID and fee. Patient ID is just, a counter. So if we want to display statistics about a certain column, we can specify that column. So data, in this case, fee describe. Here are some statistics about the fee column, like minimum, maximum count, and the data type, which is float. That means decimal. Alright, next we're going to search the data using conditions. So if we want to look at certain rows, not everything. For example, let's say we want to display patients that paid more than 500. Okay, data fee more than 500. So all of these have paid more than 500. Let's say we want to display some rows based on two conditions. For example, all those patients who had either symptoms of either fever or cough. Because we have two conditions, we're going to use an extra set of parentheses, one for each condition. So the first condition is data. Now fever and cough are in the symptoms column, so we have to specify the column name. Symptoms equal. Anytime you want to compare a value or a column to a certain value, use the double equal if you're looking for equal, or you use greater than, less than. In this case, we want cough or fever. So we have to say equal. Are the symptoms equal fever or equal cough? So cough, and repeat that. Let me just write this data symptoms double equal fever. Let's try that. So all of these patients had either fever or cough. All right. Let's look at another example. Let's say we want to see all patients who were seen by Dr. For example, Adnan, and who stayed in the hospital. That means the patient type is inpatient. So I'm going to copy this instead of data. Again, because we have more than one condition, we're going to use parentheses. Data. We want Dr. Adnan. This time, and so we want to see all patients who were seen by Dr. Adnan and who stayed in the hospital. So the type is inpatient. This time we're using an and because we want both conditions to be true. Okay, so only 2 patients who were seen by Dr. Adnan stayed in the hospital. Now let's look at another example. Let's say we want to see all patients who are female and who did not stay in the hospital. So the patient type is outpatient. Again, this time we're looking for female patients. That means the gender equals female, and who did not stay in the hospital. That means the patient type outpatient. Let's try that. Okay, so all of these patients are female and did not stay in the hospital. They were treated and left on the same day. Last thing we want to look at is how to add a column. To add a column, all you have to do is just specify the column name. Let's say we want to add a VAT tax to this table, okay, which is 5% of the fee. So data, you specify the new column name, and then you give it a value. This time it's a calculated value. It's 0.05 times the fee column. Very straightforward. Let's try that. And nothing happened because the column has been added, but we can't see it. If you want to see the column, you have to display some rows using the head. So there you have it. The new column name is VAT, and the value is 5% of the fee. 5% of 200 is 10, 5% of 1500 is 75, and so forth. 5% of 2000 is 100. Alright, and there you have it. That's it for today. Let's just recap what we did. As always, to use the Pandas library, you need to import the Pandas, and then you open a data file, display some rows, and then to display some statistics about the data set, you use the describe function. The describe function can be used with the data set itself or a certain column. It will display some statistics. Next, to look at specific rows of the data, you can use conditions. In this case, for example, we looked at all the patients who paid more than 500 in the fee. Okay, so you say data fee more than 500. If you want to use more than one condition, you use the bar for or, and you use the and for and, of course. The ampersand, you use it for and. So if you want to look at patients who had symptoms of either cough or fever, you use the bar. Okay? And remember, when you have more than one condition, you include each condition within parentheses. Now, if you want to display doctors or patients who were seen by Dr. Adnan and were treated in the hospital, they stayed overnight, you use the and. So both conditions have to be true. Another example of using and is when you want to look at female patients who were treated and left on the same day. Okay, and the last thing we did was learn how to add a new column to a data set. You just specify the new column name and you give it a value. In this case, it's a calculated value based on another column. Alright, remember, doing this doesn't affect the original Excel file because we're dealing with just a copy of the Excel file. Okay, so the Excel file is still without the column fact. That's it for today. Stay safe and do the assignment that will be submitted on Google Classroom. Thank you very much and have a good day.